New details have emerged with how the NSA would be using your phones to spy on you. Now, this comes from the Intercept and CBC News. They filed a joint, they publicly, boy, I am just off today. The Intercept and the CBC have published a joint documents today, which outline different efforts of the NSA and the different Five Eyes, which include Canada, the United Kingdom, New Zealand, and Australia, on ways that they use to spy on people using their own handheld devices. Now, these reports, these documents, show that the NSA plan to infiltrate Google and Samsung app stores to plant spying software on smartphones, using these app stores to spy on people using their smartphones. Now, this, as I said, this comes from the Intercept. Now, the intelligence agencies came up with this strategy as a way to hack different smartphones. And this project was called Irritant Horn. What an interesting name. Now, essentially, the agents used smartphone traffic by browsing through its web traffic database created under the X-Key Score program. They would then track down those phones' connections to an app marketplace. Once identified, agents would hijack that connection and redirect it and use it as a delivery system to plant spyware on your phone. These implants would then gather data from the phone, including emails, texts, browsing history, call logs, videos, and photos. You get all that? Emails, texts, browsing history, call logs, photos, and videos from your phone. You get one of these apps, they can collect all of that data. But wait a minute, I thought they were just collecting metadata that didn't include content of your phone. The content of your emails, your photos and videos. Turns out they were lying about it. Big surprise, right? So you send a text, they have it. You send a photo of yourself, they have it. God forbid you send a video of yourself, they have it. Emails, they have it. All of this is what these apps could get, could collect from you, from your smartphone. Now, it's unclear what they were, what methods they were using before. There were previous disclosures through Snowden, but they were unsure how they were getting this. So this was a new disclosure. Now, not only that, not only can the apps do all that stuff, but hijacking the App Store connection also gives spies a permanent connection to the phone that allowed them to send, quote, selective misinformation to the target's handsets. Now, what could they possibly use this for? Well, this tactic was apparently part of a broader attempt to monitor and possibly mitigate future Middle East and North Africa uprisings similar to the Arab Spring protests that swept through the region in 2010-2011. So you could do that. You could send misinformation to people's cell phones using these apps, using these programs that have been intercepted and created to create a backdoor into your phone in order to mitigate possible political uprisings in different places. Now, it's not so much of a tinfoil hat conspiracy to think that they might consider doing something like that here. And think about some of the protests that the government might want to shut down. Certainly not the Tea Party protests, but things like Occupy Wall Street, for example. I wouldn't be surprised to hear that any kind of political protest that takes on the establishment, takes on the banks, the powers that be shut down by something like this. By giving misinformation to protesters, maybe disrupting how they meet, where they meet, what the protest is about. All that kind of stuff could be used to shut down these protests before they even begin, without implicating the government, without even them having to bring out police or anything like that. Just make it so they can never get together to protest, and you've solved your problem. This police state, this surveillance state, has gotten way completely out of hand. And before I go, there's one thing that I want to address on this whole thing of tracking your phone. They say that we need these programs. Even if, first they wouldn't even acknowledge these programs exist. Now that they do, now that they've been revealed, we need these to stop terrorists. We need to stop this from, we need to use these for national security, to stop threats against Americans. And Chris Christie was saying, we need these programs because we're not scared enough. We need to remember that we should be scared. So that we need these programs. We need you to spy in on us using big government. Well, I have to remind you, last year a report came out that it was an analysis of 225 terrorism cases inside the United States since September 11th. And this analysis has concluded that the bulk collection of phone records by the NSA using programs like this has had no discernible impact on preventing acts of terrorism. And this is a study by the New America Foundation. It found that this had no discernible impact on preventing acts of terrorism. None. This is an excuse to spy in on Americans. This is basically declaring us, the people, as the enemy of the establishment. And that should be alarming to everyone. And I'm really dismayed that more and more people are not getting as up in arms about this as they should.